Hey everyone! It's time for other Remington's Ramblings, but this time I've got John with me, just because. And this show is not brought to you by Monster Espresso, but that's what we're going to be drinking.
Product placement.
Okay.
Not bad.
So anyways, got a few things to talk about. So we're going to get right down to it because we only have about 20 minutes. Alright, so earlier today, and this is being recorded on Wednesday, Matthew from Mini War Gaming posted that the Mini War Gaming store is going to be closing. And let me tell you, that really sucks. And the only reason they're closing, the biggest reason that they're closing, not the only, but the huge one, is because of Games Workshop's brand new bullshitted business practices, which basically restricts online sale of their products to their website only for a bunch of bullshit reasons. I've watched Matt's video, he's watched Matt's video, so we're going to have just a big talk about Mini War Gaming, GW in general, and stuff like that. So, basically, GW posted a whole bunch of brand new business practices, like I said, saying that they are going to reserve online sale of all their products for themselves and themselves only, leaving a whole bunch of people that sell stuff online, such as Mini War Gaming, out in the cold. And basically, Mini War Gaming, the actual physical store, has just been barely scraping by, and Matthew was going to keep the store going for as long as he could, but now that they can no longer sell GW stuff, which is their biggest seller, he's going to have to close down the store. The website's going to remain open. The members' vault is going to remain open. So if you're a lifetime vault member like me, don't worry, you're still going to get your stuff. But that just means you're not going to be able to buy anything from their online store except for Dark Potential stuff. Everything else...
Magnets.
And magnets. Dark Potential stuff and magnets. But everything else, which is going to be 40K, Fantasy, Privateer Press stuff, Mantic Games, all that other stuff is just going to be not sold. You're going to have to get it elsewhere. So, John, your thoughts?
I think it's bullshit that they decided to close up shop for other online stores.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, what was, you know that video that I showed you before?
The Great Games Workshop Conspiracy?
Yeah, the Great Games Workshop Conspiracy. I wish I could remember what the guy's name is. I think his name is like Chris from AG Productions. That's what it is. Chris from AG Productions posted this hour-long video about the Great Games Workshop Conspiracy. This video I think he posted a year and a half ago, where basically he said that like for the past 10 years, Games Workshop has been slowly but surely cutting off independent retailers from selling their stuff. It went from, you know, open market to, you know, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. And he said basically what he suspects Games Workshop did, which I would not be surprised if they did, is just one day they sat down and said, okay, how can we make the most money? And they came up with like a big 10-year business plan where they will continuously raise prices every year, exactly the same time every year, and just slowly but surely cut off independent retailers until they can only sell their products through their website and their actual stores. So it's a really interesting watch. It is an hour long, but you know, if you can find an hour of time, you can just listen to it in the background as you do other stuff. But it is a really interesting video that you should really watch or listen to. So, but basically, Games Workshop doesn't have this massive monopoly on the miniature wargaming market, but they do have a very large chunk of it. There are other companies that are kind of, you know, edging in on their territory, but still GW is the big one. And the reason that GW still exists is because they have such a great game. They have really good games. But their business practices are total crap, especially when it comes to the customers. Now, in a purely business sense, they're doing really well. I mean, they're making money. They're raking in money. They're making it so people can only buy from them. So they have larger profit margins. But still, at the same time, I mean, this is a hobby. You know, this isn't, you know, a life for people. This is a hobby. This is something that people do optionally in their free time. And so to like make it just a cold, hard business decision to shut out all these other people was total bullshit. So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, it started in 2003 with the trade agreement with the, you had to have a brick and mortar store.
Yep.
To sell online.
I got into the game in about 2010, 2011, so I don't know any of that stuff except just from, you know, secondhand information. But basically, it used to be that, you know, you would find like these, not even mom and pop shops, they were like basement stores. Like someone would claim to have a business, order in crap tons of product, and they would literally stick it in their basement or their attic, and they would have like a mail order business or one of those early kind of .com kind of things. And they would just sell the stuff online at massive discounts. So GW was losing a bunch of money. And it used to be that GW was a privately owned company, but now, I mean, GW is now a publicly owned company. You can buy stock in Games Workshop. And so the bottom line is money. Bottom line is the shareholders. And so they're all about making the money. They want to make their shareholders happy, not the customers happy. But still, customers are pretty happy with the models that come out, but not with the price points. I mean, his brother was just recently commenting on the fact that he used to be able to like buy a box of Tactical Marines, which is 10 Space Marines for, what was it, 23 bucks?
Yeah, about 23.
23 bucks, and now it's $33.
Or like Sean, who talked about back in the day, where it was like even cheaper, and you got more figures.
Got more figures, much cheaper, but now GW doesn't do that. And even when they sell package deals online, I mean, recently for my birthday from John and Paul and Amanda, I got one of their flyer deals. We got like a Storm Raven, 10 Tactical Marines, and a Dreadnought. And you figure, you know, if you package them all together and you're getting someone to spend like 160 bucks, you know, buy 160 bucks for the stuff, you'll give them a discount. You know, give them 5 bucks or 10 bucks off.
No.
No. They're just like, all this stuff is full priced. You're just going to be able to buy it with one click. That's all. You're going to be able to save yourself like a minute and a half worth of your life.
Oh,
ooh, look out. Ooh. Could have gotten it cheaper somewhere else, but not anymore. Not anymore.
Except for eBay.
Except for eBay, because if they try to screw with eBay, I mean, GW is like this big corporation. They got a lot of lawyers. You know they got a lot of lawyers because they go and they try to banhammer anyone that even attempts to barely infringe on their IP unconsciously or unintentionally. But eBay is also this massive organization, and so if they try to go after eBay, well, heads will roll. Heads will indeed roll.
Yes, it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
For stuff that used to come in the Battle of Macragge starter set from 4th edition, came with like quite a few minis and actual scenery pieces.
Yep, terrain. I got some of that stuff on eBay.
Yeah, and you saw David's terrain pieces before they got lost.
I never saw them before they got lost.
Yeah, basically it was like a Thunderhawk wing. And
yeah, it was like the Aquila Flyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that thing somewhere in my room.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I mean, you got like a starter box that had like 2 factions. You got like Space Marines and Tyranids plus terrain. Are they ever going to do that again? No.
Fantasy used to give cardstock buildings.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and I think it was 5th edition. My brother bought a 5th edition box set.
For Fantasy?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It was in Empire and Lizardman.
Alright.
It came with like all that stuff and cardstock buildings that you could assemble.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That was really interesting. So, I mean, not only do you have like a full game in a box, it's almost like you have like a game, like a small game and a small gaming table in the box. That's really awesome.
Yeah, that was their old practices. Now it's like barely any figures. Rules, sure. barely the rules, and that's about it. Nothing else.
You know, I mean, that is just sad. I mean, you know, I had, for the longest time, I was the person in the gaming group that had the oldest codex, because I was playing Necrons, old 3rd edition Necrons. And, you know, you flip through the book, and I swear, like, the amount of rules, actual rules for, like, the minis that you got were about 5 or 6 pages. And we're talking, like, front and back, because Necrons was really small. But, you know, in the back, they had this whole section on how to make terrain for, like, Necrons. Do they put that in codexes anymore?
No.
No. That's because they make and sell their own plastic terrain. And, you know, in 5th edition, I mean, they just brought out all this terrain. And, you know, you could buy it, and you could put it on the table, but it didn't really serve much of a function other than to be terrain. And you can say, okay, this is an actual building. You get this kind of cover from it, and it's actual Games Workshop stuff. But now with 6th edition, they're actually giving you rules for all this terrain. So now they're pumping out even more terrain. So you got to buy this terrain, and you got actual rules for it. And heaven forbid if you use, you know, third party or homemade terrain. I mean, oh my gosh, the horror.
Well, we're using the homemade terrain.
Yeah, but we're not an official Games Workshop store.
It's made of Games Workshop sprue.
Some of it. All right, but the fact of the matter is, I mean, people are far too heavily invested in these games to just quit. I mean, I've got this massive Blood Angels army, and you know, I'm trying to work on the beginnings of like an Imperial Fists detachment. This guy has like Tau and Dark Angels.
I have around like $1,000-something worth of models, so I'm not gonna.
I think you have even more.
Yeah.
Even more dollar amount of that, because you know the simple fact is you can't just give up this game. You can't say I'm gonna stop playing this game because I don't agree with their business practice. But you know, here you go. You've spent like $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 on all this stuff, and you're just gonna say nope, I'm not gonna do it anymore. Well, what happens to your $10,000 investment? I mean, you got to get something out of it. What are you gonna do? You're gonna sell it to someone for like a massive loss?
Yeah.
And you know, like this guy. His main army is Tau, and Tau have not been all that great for the longest time, but you know what? In April, they're coming out with a new Codex update and a whole bunch of new models, and so, you know, and he's going to get them.
Sadly, I am.
He's going to get them.
I'll probably be getting them over the course of time, but I'm going to be getting them.
Yep, he's going to be getting them, and, you know, that's how GW keeps people up. You know, they say, hey, you know, you're thinking of getting out? Hey, here's a whole bunch of new awesome-looking models. You really want to get out now? You're like, oh, I've been waiting forever for this codex to be updated, and they're not doing it. Yeah. I'm going to get out. Nope. Look at all these awesome flyers you got.
Another problem I'm having with it is that Matt Ward.
Isn't it true that Matt Ward really was relegated to not working on anything that had to do with writing codexes?
I don't know. I believe so, but oh my god, I hate Matt Ward's writing, taking continuity and removing and changing stuff and making fanboy fluff.
Yeah, it's like the fluff doesn't matter. He's just going to go ahead and rewrite it. Nope, that didn't happen. Doesn't matter if that's been canon. For the past 12 years, that didn't happen.
Or the most worst atrocity ever is Blood Angel Necrons. Nowhere's in the older codexes or in the Necron or Blood Angels did they say they were buddies.
I think that when he wrote the Blood Angel Codex and he added that in there, I mean, I'm pretty sure they had a whiteboard up somewhere that said, this is what we're going to be working on for the next few years, and there was the Necron Codex, and there was Matt Ward's name that's like the guy who's going to be working on it, and he had some kind of an idea saying, this is how I'm going to just totally ignore the past fluff for Necrons, rewrite it, and like get the Necrons, the Blood Angels, to team up against the Tyranids.
Personally, I like the fluff for the new Necrons.
It gives them a lot more personality.
Yeah, but making them be able to work with like Blood Angels, that was like... And even in the 6th edition Allied Detachment, they're like... I can't remember what they are, but you're able to field them together.
A lot of stuff is able to be fielded together, but at least at our game shop, we just ignore those Allied Detachment rules of how close people can be together if they don't exactly work well together without being able to not work together. Basically, unless someone's going to bring Tyranids, in which case people are going to say, nope, you can't bring anyone. But that thing with weary weary allies, where if they get within 6 inches of each other, they can't make any actions because they're just watching each other. No one in our gaming club does that. They're just going to say, oh, they're just going to shoot over here, and these guys are going to shoot over there. Who cares if they're 3 inches apart? That doesn't work with my army. It doesn't work with my plan. So
yeah, but as I said, Matt Ward just made some bad decisions, and making, especially for fantasy, ruined fantasy, the 6th edition fantasy. Yeah, from what I've heard, Matt Ward, when they brought him on, he rewrote the Demon's Codex, and totally broke fantasy so bad because he made the demons so overpowered that they had to come out with a brand new edition. They couldn't just issue a bunch of erratas in this rulebook, nerfing them. They said, well, he screwed this crap up so bad, let's just come out with a whole new edition to fix the problem. And it, screwed a bunch of people, High Elf Magic is, unplayable.
Well,
in the new edition.
Well, we've got about 4 minutes left. So, if it's extremely difficult to get into GW's games now, just because of how overly expensive they are, unless you know someone that has an army that wants to get rid of it and they're willing to sell it to you for cheap. So basically, if you're looking to get into miniature war games, GW has a fantastic line, but their prices and business practices are total crap. So, why don't we name off some games that you can play instead? I mean, there's more out there than just Warhammer 40k and Warhammer Fantasy. I mean, the big one, obviously, is Privateer Press's games, which is War Machine and Hordes. I mean, I know that not many people in my group play anything other than just GW stuff, but there's 2 options for you right there. Once the movie Pacific Rim comes out and does really successfully, which I'm very sure it will, then Privateer Press's other game, which is Monster Apocalypse, will go back into production. You can play Monster Apocalypse.
Let's see.
There's a lot of
Dark Potential.
Dark Potential. Don't forget about Dark Potential. Mini War Gaming's own miniature war game, Dark Potential.
And it was fun.
Yeah. They got 3 factions out right now, and for the entire month of March, which is until March 31st, you can get an army deal where you spend $100, you get 2 starter sets and some extra figures. So you get a complete faction, not just a starter faction, for half the price or even less. So that's really awesome.
That's pretty good because Games Workshop is
they'll never do that.
No. Let's see what else. Dropship Commander.
Drop Zone Commander. I would really love to get into that game, but with the diversity of games in this area is just so small, it's difficult to get into new games.
Yeah.
Just because, you spend the money, you want to be able to play it, but not a whole lot of people play it. I kind of laughed when I went to Santa Barbara. I went into a game shop there, and they were selling Infinity. I seriously laughed, because no one in my hometown is going to be playing Infinity.
No, that's another game.
Yeah, that is another game. So there's Infinity. There's Malifaux.
I was about to say
Malifaux. Malifaux.
That's interesting.
One that the Kickstarter just ended for, and I got in on that with just a few days to go, was Wild West Exodus. That's a really interesting up-and-coming game. They're going to have a total of 10 factions. They have 10 factions planned. They have 5 right now, 4 complete factions, and a starter set for a 5th. And so when that comes out in stores in September, look forward to it. What else we got?
Yeah, if you're not into just utter skirmishing game, is BattleTech.
BattleTech. There's BattleTech. There's a lot of
HeroClix.
Well, there's just a lot of games. Some of them you have miniatures, but they aren't exactly massive army battles. There's a bunch on Kickstarter. Kickstarter is a great way to get in basement level on games, to get a bunch of stuff for relatively cheap. Because in Kickstarter, you're getting stuff at least at least 25% off the actual retail price. Sometimes even 50%, sometimes even 25% if you pledge up at higher levels. But, I mean, there's like gladiatorial games where you fight one-on-one. Kingdom Death is a really good one if you're lucky enough to get in on that.
I wanted to.
Which we weren't able to. We found that out too late. And there's like a lot of really awesome board games. Cool Mini or Not, Zombicide. Right now they're running a Kickstarter for Season 2 of Zombicide. For a pledge of $220, you get the original game and every single expansion that they're making, as well as like a bunch of Kickstarter exclusive minis. So, you know, if you want to get in on Zombicide, I mean, you have about 10 more days to do that. So I would really recommend looking into that. What else is there? Well, with board games, I mean, like Kickstarter is just like a really awesome way to find new projects. Rivet Wars, pretty much any kind of game made by Cool Mini or Not is going to be like a big hit. Can you think of anything else?
No, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, right off the top of my head. But you know those are a lot of games right now. And like, look at Mantic War Games. They have like Kings of War, Warforged, all this stuff. They have like some 40K and fantasy clones that are standalone games, but can also be used as like as like proxies, and sometimes pretty accurate proxies for 40K stuff. I mean, there are so many third-party Imperial Guard stuff that you can build like a really huge and awesome looking 40K army that's Imp Guard for really cheap. I mean, with like lots of tanks, and there's like guys with gas masks, so you can make like the Death Corps Krieg, which is like a really expensive Forge World army. You can make that for just a fraction of the price that that the GW and Forge World is charging for that. So anyhow, do you have any closing comments, John?
As much as I want to just no longer buy from Games Workshop, I'm going to have to. It's real crappy that they're... I hope that they change their business practices to more fit for the customer and not for the profit.
Well, the simple fact of the matter is, it's all
capitalism.
It's all about the bottom line, especially when you're a publicly traded company. That's just something that you got to understand.
Yeah.
They used to be by the fans, for the fans, and it no longer is. And that is how they get you. They get you, like addicted to these games. You really love them, and then they go ahead and jack up the prices. But anyhow, we've been talking for about almost 24 minutes here, so that is all I have for you this time. Check in again later on for future stuff, and that is it. I am signing out.